So have you seen this trend that's just been exploding everywhere online? We're talking about tiny, microscopic needles from sea sponges being massaged right into the skin. It's fascinating. And let's be honest, it sounds a little intimidating, right? It's definitely a new frontier in skincare.
Okay, so let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. Are we really seriously putting microscopic needles in our skincare products? And the short answer is, yeah, we are. But it's probably not in the way you're imagining. The actual science behind how they work is way more interesting than the shock value of the name. And you know, this ingredient is so polarizing. You've got one camp of people who absolutely swear by it, saying they're seeing incredible improvements in their skin's texture and tone, but then you have this other camp that describes the feeling as, well, anything from a mild tingle to rubbing fiberglass on their face. It's a huge spectrum of experiences, for sure. Okay, let's really dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to unpack all the hype and controversy around the needle in the cream. Then we'll look at where these things actually come from, literally from sponge to skin. After that, we'll get into the science of how they work, which is all about this delivery system theory. Then we'll talk about why the product's formula is so critical. And finally, we'll put it all together into a framework to help you figure out if this trend is right for you.
All right, first up, the needle in the cream. Now, look, the idea of using sponge spicules in skincare isn't brand new. But what is new is the super slick, aggressive marketing. That's basically turned this niche ingredient into a global sensation, pretty much fueled by viral videos on social media.
So now that we kinda get the hype, let's get to the source. What are these spicules, really? And where in the world do they come from? The answer might actually surprise you.
Okay, so a spicule is a microscopic, needle-like structure. And the most important thing to get here is that this is a completely biological material. It's not something cooked up in a lab, it's harvested directly from nature.
And what's so cool is where they come from. These spicules are part of the actual skeleton of a marine sponge. And fun fact, a sponge is an animal, not a plant. They're usually made of silica, and if you look at them under a microscope, they look like these tiny, sharp little crystal needles. And while they've been used in pharmacology for a while, seeing them in mass-market skincare is a pretty recent thing.
So this brings us to the most important question of all. What are they actually doing to your skin? What's the scientific mechanism here? Is it really like getting a mini microneedling session from a cream?
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. You can see there's a big gap between the marketing story and what the science actually tells us. The popular claim you hear everywhere is that spicules create these tiny micro-injuries to kickstart collagen production, like a gentle microneedling treatment. But the research we have suggests their main job is something totally different. They are just phenomenal delivery systems.
And this is basically how it works. When you massage a product with spicules into your skin, these tiny needles create temporary microchannels. Just think of them as little tunnels. These tunnels act like express lanes for all the other powerhouse ingredients in the formula. We're talking peptides for firming, antioxidants for protection, letting them travel deeper than they ever could on their own. And then, over the next day or two, the spicules just naturally fall out as your skin cells turn over. It's pretty clever.
But wait, that's not all they do. This physical action also gives your skin a little nudge, stimulating it and speeding up cell turnover. And that gives you a fantastic exfoliating effect, which is what helps improve your skin texture, even out your skin tone, and fade things like old acne marks.
So here's the most important takeaway. You absolutely cannot judge a product just because it has spicules in it. The entire formulation is what dictates the experience and the results. A product with spicules can be anything from a super gentle exfoliator to a really intense treatment. It all comes down to what else is in that bottle.
You can think of it like this. The spicule is the delivery truck, but the real magic depends on the cargo it's carrying. Is it hydrating hyaluronic acid, firming peptides, brightening niacinamide? And, just as important, how is the rest of the formula designed to support the skin during this whole process?
And you can really see this diversity when you look at the different types of products out there. On one end, you have gentle wash-off clay masks. In those, the spicules are just there for a mild physical exfoliation to make your skin feel smoother, and you might not feel a thing. In the middle, you've got things like leave-on creams, where the main goal is to deliver other active ingredients deeper into the skin. And then, way over on the other end of the spectrum, you have these high-concentration serums made for aggressive skin renewal, and those can feel intensely prickly.
Some brands have even come up with systems to measure this intensity, often using a term like shots. So a 100-shot product would be for beginners. It might feel a little tingly and be fine for regular use. But a 700-shot product, whoa, that's extremely potent, and is usually something you'd only get in a professional treatment. The key is always to start low and follow the directions on the package to a T.
And that brings us to the risks, which are really important to talk about. By their very design, spicules temporarily mess with your skin's protective barrier. Think of your skin barrier like a strong brick wall that keeps all the good stuff, like moisture, in and all the bad stuff, like irritants, out. Spicules basically poke tiny, temporary holes in that wall. Now that's a feature, not a bug, but it does mean that for a little while, your skin is more vulnerable. And that is why these products are an absolute no-go for anyone with sensitive skin, rosacea, active acne, or a skin barrier that's already weak or compromised.
So, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. Now let's move into our final section and build a really practical framework to help you make a smart decision about whether you should jump on this trend.
So after all of that, the big question remains, should you actually add spicules to your routine? And the answer, like with everything in skincare, isn't a simple yes or no. But the good news is, now you have the tools to decide for yourself. Just run through this checklist in your head. First, what's your goal? Are you just looking for a gentle polish, or are you trying to make those peptides you're already using work even better? Second, what's your skin type? Is it pretty tough and resilient, or does it freak out easily? Third, how's your barrier health right now? If you've been going too hard on the acids, this is not the time to experiment. And finally, real talk. Are you prepared for that unique, prickly feeling? If you can honestly answer yes to these questions, then it might be an ingredient worth cautiously exploring. You know, when you zoom out, the rise of spicules tells a much bigger story. It really signals a shift in skincare. We're moving beyond just searching for the next magic ingredient, and we're moving towards finding smarter ways to make the proven ingredients we already have work harder and more effectively for us. It's not about magic needles, it's about intelligent delivery. So the question isn't just what's in your skincare, but maybe how is it getting where it needs to go?